Unafraid Show, Reister or Wrong. Thank you guys for joining us today. I'm your boy, George Reister. You know, here to lead the programming where we are unafraid. We are here. We're not sheep, independent thinkers. And that's why you come here for the Unafraid Show. Thank you for your time and your energy every single day. Love it. Appreciate it as well. As always, leave a comment. Share the feed. Swipe up, share the feed now. Email your questions in unafraidshow@gmail.com. So as usual, got some hot stuff up for you today. First of which, Ole Miss got a new basketball coach. And why is that important to you? Why is that important to me? The question is because he had some quote unquote interesting words about his new team and how they are going to conduct themselves on the court. Started talking about something that he had no business talking about. Second thing up, former Tennessee Volunteers head coach Butch Jones is now an intern / analyst at Alabama under Nick Saban. And we're also going to go over my March Madness Sweet 16 picks. But first of all, where we're going to start at is Kermit Davis, former coach at Middle Tennessee State University, moves over, gets a big-time Power 5 job over at Ole Miss. Back in his home state. Ooh, yeah, go Mississippi. I'm originally from close to Mississippi. I was born in Memphis, Tennessee, but I grew up out in California. So I understand what that South living is like. So I understand that there are, traditional values that go on there, even though a lot of traditions, they need to be broken. And here is what Kermit Davis had to say about his new gig at Ole Miss and how his team is going to play and what his team's going to do. And I quote, Ole Miss basketball is going to look like it's going to be relentless, explosive, athletic. A team is going to have to play on and on to beat us. It's going to be a team that is going to be unselfish. We're going to be a team that plays fast and smart in transition. We're going to get easy baskets. We're going to play with great body language. Okay, cool. Typical boilerplate things that a coach says when he's in his introductory press conference. But here is where it went left. We're going to be a respectful team that respects the flag and the national anthem. All those things from culture is what we're about. It's who we're going to be. I almost fell out. I was like, hold up. You said all the right things that we expect a coach to say. And then all of a sudden, Mr. Kermit Davis, you went left. Why the hell are you talking about the national anthem in your press conference? Because my question is, just randomly in the presser. Because that's literally inserting sexual harassment into your press conference. Oh, we're not going to have any sexual harassment here on this campus. We're going to get rid of that weed problem that's plaguing our country, the opioid problem. What? Are you kidding me? I just couldn't figure out why the hell this dude was talking about this. I couldn't figure it out. Then I was like, hold up. He's playing to the base. He's playing to the Mississippi base. Because, this is literally like election fraud. Like creating a problem where no problem actually exists. The college players nobody that I have heard of. I Googled, I did some research, asked around, have basketball players in college, let alone college, the NBA, have been sitting, kneeling, or doing anything during the national anthem. So why the hell is he talking about this? Like this is all of a sudden going to be some issue at Mississippi. No, man, he was playing to the base. Playing to the base. And Ole Miss was doing so well. They were doing so well. They fully integrated their schools 30 years ago or 20 years ago. Actually abolished slavery in their state. In 2010, they got rid of Colonel Reb, the white plantation owning mascot, and replaced him with a bear. Now they've changed to a land shark to even just get rid of all of it. The rebels get rid of all of it. Ole Miss was doing good, and then you, Kermit Davis, have to come along and ruin it with this. Because I'm like, did I miss something? Like, has the national anthem or any protest of any kind in college sports besides about paying players been a conversation or even come up? No, it hasn't come up. And when it has come up, the leaders in college sports, I mean, when you go everybody from Coach K, Nick Saban, Jimbo Fisher, Charlie Strong, Jim Harbaugh, Coach Calipari, all of these guys, when asked about the national anthem, they say the same thing. It's a constitutional right, peaceful protest. These young men have to make their own decisions. They understand that, there are consequences to your decisions. Some people aren't going to like them. Blah, blah, blah. Standard boilerplate stuff. So I can't understand why Kermit Davis thought it was a good idea to insert that his team is going to stand for the national anthem in his presser. Can anybody give me a good, rational answer as to why he would do that besides to play to the base of Mississippians who let's be honest, some of them are not the most racially progressive people in the world. And it's not just in Mississippi. It's other places like that in the South. I mean, I'm just asking. Can anybody give me a rational reason for that? Because I couldn't come up with one besides riling up the base. And then that got me to thinking even further. If all these coaches who are powerful and are smart guys out in the world, if this is what they think about it, the country was founded on protests. We don't even have to get into that the national anthem protest wasn't even about the national anthem and everybody respects and loves the troops. Let's forget about that part. Let's think about this. A college coach is saying that he's going to force his team to stand for the national anthem. Okay? So that's the first thing. The logic when it came to NFL players standing and teams forcing teams to stand for them or not signing players who had anything to do with the protest, the logic there has been used as, oh, it's an employer problem. Employees can dictate on some level what their employees are allowed to do or the culture or workplace that they have in their company. Okay, but you can't use that idea in college because they're not employees. They're amateur athletes. And amateur athletes have a lot more flexibility to do things than professional athletes, right? But, oh, no. But it's the university. The university gets to dictate. Really? Really? But they're not employees. So how does that logic work? Well, they're giving them a free education. The education is not free. They're earning it. They are putting their blood, sweat, and tears on the line for their education. So that's the gotcha. That's the part that gets a little curious because you made the argument for NFL players that it's an employer workplace issue, that they get to dictate what their employees do and don't do. All right. So how can you have a college coach in Kermit Davis who now says his team's going to stand for the national anthem? Forcing that into a presser when there has been no issue in the past. I mean, this is part of what's going on in this country where I'm like, oh my God, we've lost it. Because you make one argument about one thing, but then it's really about something else. Because truth be told is that even if you are dealing with NFL players, college players, amateurs, or whatever, you don't get to dictate things as an employer or in college athletes as somebody who goes to your institution of higher learning. You don't get to dictate or violate people's civil rights and freedoms because of a new company policy. That's like me creating a company and saying, all right, all women who work at Unafraid Inc., that they have to wear skirts no longer than 1 inch below the buttocks. Mandatory new company policy. If you don't want to work here, then you don't have to work here. All women must sleep with at least one senior level employee. Yep. Tell me how that's going to work out. It's not going to work. It's not going to work. It's the same thing. If you're violating people's civil rights, you're going to have a problem. And this is what Kermit Davis is doing at Ole Miss, and then the fact that he even brought it up in the presser didn't even make sense to begin with. I couldn't figure it out. The next thing up though, which just absolutely just messed me up, just bothered me today, was actually to finish the other thing. I wanted to say that it's time for everybody to put their big boy pants on, and their big girl pants on, and stop retreating to your extremist corner. Because the reality is this, is that you can't then on one hand say, oh, you're hurting my feelings by your protest. And then on another hand, tell people, oh, don't be snowflakes about the stuff that everybody says. You got to have thicker skin. So everybody's got to put on their big boy and big girl pants and have some deep conversations about stuff that makes you uncomfortable. Come on, man. Next thing up, like I said, this was a little bit funny. It's a humanitarian effort. A humanitarian effort by Nick Saban at Alabama. I want to go on record as appreciating Nick Saban for his humanitarian coaching efforts. Why do you say that? It is very clear. It is very clear that Nick Saban is running a soup kitchen / halfway house / vocational school for fired coaches. That's what he's doing. Been very successful at it. You guys are watching Unafraid Show. George Reister here. We're talking about Nick Saban in Alabama running a soup kitchen, a halfway house, and a vocational school for coaches. Look at his last few coaching hires. The people he's brought on as either coordinators or assistants or whatever. Brought in Lane Kiffin. He was disgraced at USC. They fired him on a bus. They dropped him off on the bus at the tarmac at the airport. Didn't even have the dignity to fire him at the office. Nick Saban brings him in, grooms him, ships him out to FIU. Successful story. Steve Sarkisian came to USC, another disgraced USC coach. He had a substance abuse problem, chemical dependency. What happens? Nick Saban opens him, brings him in with open arms. Come on, Sark, we'll take you. What? Sark gets out of the door very quickly. Atlanta Falcons offensive coordinator. And now he takes in Butch Jones, the man who he used to absolutely continuously boat race at Tennessee. Takes in a not a winning football coach, a guy who just got fired and people were talking about as the worst coach in Tennessee history. Brings him in for educational training. You got to applaud Nick Saban for this. You have to applaud for him. And I have a newfound respect for Nick Saban. He really loves and cares about the game of football. Because he wants to help these guys out who are struggling to be head coaches. Because he knows that they're going to get another opportunity. Despite failure. They're going to get another opportunity. Because that's the coaching way. Sometimes your complexion is your protection in the coaching business. But that's just the truth. So that's why I said I have a newfound respect for Nick Saban. He is imparting wisdom into these guys, but he also realizes the benefit that the coaches can add to him because Lane Kiffin brought a new style of offense, shotgun, different types of play action, all that. Very successful, multiple national championships. Steve Sarkisian added value. And now Butch Jones is an intern. Like, how humbling is that? Like, if you're willing to go down and accept a role as an intern or / analyst to comply with NCAA rules, hey, I applaud you, Butch Jones, and I applaud you, Nick Saban. But the best thing about Nick Saban is this. Even though he ships these dudes out, gets them new jobs, rehabs them, cleans them up, get them all nice and shiny, you know what he does? He still adheres to the two most important rules of being the master. Because whether he coaches against Mark D'Antonio up in Michigan State, whether he coaches against any of his other past proteges, what happens? He doesn't give them, well, he follows the two most important rules of being the master. Number one, don't tell everybody everything you know. There you go. Oh, wait. What's rule number 2? Refer to rule number 1. Those are the two rules of being the master. But the interesting part about Butch Jones that I always laugh about is how he and Tyronn Lue consistently have this confused look on their faces. How often does this happen? Like on a regular basis, you see this face. You saw that Butch Jones dejected face every week. I don't know what to do. Tyronn Lue. Listen, I know Tyronn Lue's hurt, and no, but the man's not dead. He's still open season. Still open season. Last thing we got up today, and most importantly, March Madness is back up tomorrow. Sweet 16, baby. Sweet 16 picks. So I'm going to give you my Sweet 16 picks against the spread. Not just who's going to win or lose, because there are people out here who are going to be in Vegas, who are going to be elsewhere, and place bets with the bookie. I will like to say that I take 10% of all picks, but I absorb 0% of the losses. So take that as you will. In the South region, you got in the South region in Atlanta. First game up tomorrow. Loyola, number 11, the lawyer. Number 11 Loyola. Jeez Louise. Maybe if I had written it right, I would have said it right. Nevada versus number 7 Nevada. Interesting here. A lot of people are picking Nevada to win. They're a lower seed. They're actually favored by 1 point. Nevada's getting a point. I'm going with Loyola. Loyola straight up. Because Loyola has Sister Jean. I don't know what they got in the water. They are going to win this basketball game. And I'm rooting for them all the way. We can all get behind this Cinderella story. In the West region, out here in LA, number 7, Texas A&M versus number 3, Michigan. Listen, Michigan has been just quite quiet this year. And I'm going to tell you, I don't like Michigan's players' shorts. Their shorts are entirely too short. They're the complete opposite of Chris Webber, Jalen Rose, and the Fab Five. I don't like it. I'm going against them. Oh, George, that's not good enough reason. What? Listen, this March Madness, anything is good enough reason. Because when the little old lady has just an equal chance of picking a correct bracket as you or I do, then yes, Michigan shorts are good enough reason for me to go against Michigan. Number 9, Kansas State in the West region versus in the South region versus Kentucky. Kansas State versus Kentucky. -5.5. Kentucky's -5.5. And you know who I got? I got Kentucky. Because with the 5.5 points, Kansas State's missing arguably their best player. And eventually you run out of talent. And Kentucky's not short on talent. They're high on confidence right now. This is a team who's going to make it to the Final Four before they lose. Next game up tomorrow, last game up tomorrow, Florida State versus Gonzaga. Gonzaga's getting 5.5, giving 5.5 points. Go with Gonzaga, bro. Go with Gonzaga. That's a win, bro. I'm telling you, Gonzaga is the matchup right now. They have a great team. And Gonzaga, most importantly, this is their year. They have enough experience. They're going to make another Final Four run. They were in a championship last year. They're going to lose in a championship again, just like Butler did 2 years in a row. You guys, thank you guys for joining me today. Unafraid Show, Reister or Wrong. Your boy George Reister here, like we are every single day, bringing the heat. Make sure that you share the Unafraid Show. Share the Unafraid Show. Email your questions, unafraidshow@gmail.com. I appreciate your time. Thanks. Peace out.